And
Okay. Are we back? Are we back? I hope so. And is Golden Pants in yet? I have now requested him. This better work. There we go. Golden Pants. You're in. Golden. All right, Golden, you're muted. Are you back? In the meantime, if anyone else wants to come up, why not? Oh, I hear something. Golden, you in? Tough. It's a listener again. Uh-oh. Tough start, but we survived. Buncher, do you want to come on? Billy? The cool thing is the amount of people listening has increased since we started the technical difficulties. That's always good, right? Sometimes the sloppiest content is the best content. That's what I learned today, actually, when I posted this Bill Ackman tweet. Got 300K views for nothing. Just said, this is a broken man. I guess that's what goes viral nowadays. Just like complaining about courtsiders gets you a big Twitter spaces with Phantom himself. CSP, let's get you on here. Why not? Oh, give me some air. What is this? Never had more difficulty here. Oh, it
yeah,
happens. It happens. Yo, I can hear you.
thank God. Sorry about that.
No,
Phantom.
okay.
Sorry,
I don't know what
everyone.
happened, man.
I don't know. I was trying to use my fancy podcasting mic, and it let me down, and now I'm doing it on
It
the
happens.
AirPods.
Yep.
Oh
I
wow,
know
we
for
got some
me.
great people here already. I can see.
Good, good. Yes, we do. And honestly, just to start off, because I don't know you that well, you came up on my timeline getting angry at Greek Gambler for watching a tennis match. Man can't just go watch a tennis match nowadays, eh? So tell us a bit about yourself and what is your relation to the prediction market space or sports betting space in general?
Yeah, I'm a full time sports bettor. I've been betting sports for at least part time for maybe 5 or 6 years now. Full time for three, I guess. I started a group basically with a friend of mine who was also a trader in a former life, and yeah, we started right when pass repealed, and then I went full time like a year after that. So then been grinding just the sports betting streets for a while. So that would just be like your recreational books, your offshores, and all that. And then when prediction markets came around, we decided to hop in because we came from that financial market background, so it was kind of a good mix of sports and markets. So we hopped in kind of late, honestly. Like we really started betting on prediction markets in I want to say like August, uh, and have really like switched to mostly prediction market stuff since then.
And is that because you used to be just on sports books and now you're mostly on prediction markets? That's right. Is it because of the fees or what's the incentive to do all your action on prediction markets?
Well, you avoid having to like go keep getting accounts, which is nice, and you can you can bet at scale without you know. I mean, we can just bet as much as we want, basically. I mean, to to a certain extent, but without having to worry about getting limited and having to move money around and all of that. So if you can win at prediction markets on sports, it's a huge just like operational upgrade over traditional sports books. And I think like the other thing is it's kind of a bet on this being somewhat long lasting. Like it seems like it has some good momentum right now. So being in early and having a lot of infrastructure in place early, I think is uh is worth more. Like yeah, like obviously trying to make money now, but also like trying to build stuff that will make more money in the future too. So, I see like I'm guessing this is how the industry is going, or at least a good chance of it. So we want to get involved.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to talk about where the industry is going because I just read that long article, I think yesterday on Bettor's Voice about calling the bluff, like the break even analysis for should FanDuel and DraftKings enter the prediction space and risk getting their license taken away. Um, we could talk about that for a bit. Do you have any takes on that and decision between going and entering prediction markets for the two big dogs?
Um, I didn't. You'd have to fill me in on the article. I didn't read that one, but I think like for the big dogs, they are playing a weird game where they have a lot at stake. Like Kalshi and Polymarket don't really have as much at stake. And shout out Novig here too. You throw them in there as well. Like they're not necessarily like DraftKings and FanDuel have poured all of this money into getting state licenses, and that gives they have a certain like uh, uh, I would say like legislative advantage when it comes to the current system. So they need they have a lot to lose if they get on the wrong side of the states, especially if the states like coordinate and
Yeah,
um, kind of punish them for offering prediction markets. So it kind of creates a situation that's perfect for like call sheet Polymarket, no vig profit, etc. Um, because like what do they have to lose? They don't have the state gaming contract, so like they're just gonna let it rip.
yeah, that's fair. Um, I think that it's interesting to see that DraftKings and FanDuel have so much at stake. And you see their stock price now. I think DraftKings is at $28. I think like 14 billion now or something crazy. I bought a couple weeks ago, 13.8 billion. Oh my god! So what is Polymarket valued more than DraftKings now? My god,
Was that a hedge?
that
Was
seems
that a
crazy.
hedge for you?
Well, I thought DraftKings would be announcing. Yeah, it's a hedge to my Polymarket position on announcing the Railbird prediction market. No,
Yeah,
I
me
alarmed
too.
because I thought they were going to launch prediction markets. But on back to your role in prediction markets, are you primarily a taker or a market maker? Do you do both? Like, what is your role here in the space?
Like almost all making.
Wow.
Yeah. So I almost never. I mean, it's we take, but well, like we're more inclined to take on a sports book, like a traditional, old school, just bet a price on a offshore on a rec account that we still have. But as far as prediction markets, I mean, I'd assume, yeah, like 99% make.
So when you're starting your rant on wood siding, is that
No,
because
it's
it's a
not
little bit is it a
self-interested
bit
at all.
personal or?
No, and actually, like, I do want to, I, like I said, and when I retweeted this for the, whatever quote tweeted this, like, dude, make your money. Like, court settings. There's no, like I said, the courts, people who are court setting have no obligation to stop like ripping my face off and like other people's face off. Like, make your money. It's all there. It's all a game. Like, I applaud people for going out and finding ways to make money. That's the AP way. Um,
Mhm.
so and yeah, like obviously, like I'm getting court sided and I'm never court siding. So like my incentive is not aligned with the court siders incentive, and like obviously, I'm not like I'm not out here. I'm not pretending to like not act in self interest. Like that's in self interest. But I'm not. I'm not. I don't think. I don't think anything less of people court siding or like taking my money. It's baked into like how we like basically set up our market making uh, infrastructure, right? Like it's just another thing to take into account. And like I said, like the thing it really impacts lowering display size, and which you know that's fine. I see some people in here who are I see from the leaderboard, Kobe, CSPT. Actually, I want to hear from CSPT because I don't know if he's like full troll with his Twitter persona or not. It's something I was talking to my boy Brock, who's a sports bet guy. But either way, I think he's quite funny. But they're up there, and I'm curious, like if they're market making or not. Like they have a view on it. But yeah, basically the one
CSP
adjustment.
CSP will join for sure.
Okay.
Okay, he actually
Okay.
wants the mic, so
Okay.
let me bring him on quickly. We'll see. He is one of the OGs, so he might have some takes. There we go,
Yeah.
CSP, you're on.
Hey man, great to finally meet.
That's right. Yeah. Funny try. I just looking at the space. I didn't know you had it on our website, Discord. I just joined up. You got a lot more going on than I thought. Just start seeing you on Twitter.
Yeah, I the Discord was. I need to like. I'd love to get some more prediction market people in there and whatnot. But yeah, the website really just links to the Discord and to the podcast. It's just a fancy way to get people to click on the podcast at this point.
I
Yeah, I
did
mean, I
listen to
totally
some of
agree
the
with you.
podcasts today.
Oh,
Not gonna lie. Anyways, continue, CSP.
oh yeah, yeah. I'll have to listen to the. I just I had never listened to any of them. I just saw them just now. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you about court siding, market making. I think the end stage is just Kalshi needs to add an in-game delay. There's like no real. They can prolong it and subsidize it around it for the long as they want, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's not sustainable. And yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a big problem. There needs to be some way of fixing it. just subsidizing away is not sustainable in the long term.
Right, because I think you'd agree, like, it would get so expensive for Kalshi to subsidize it instead of put the delay on, because the subsidies, like, if you want market makers to increase their display size, like, gets so expensive without just putting court siding.
Yeah, I mean, I think like maybe like if they're trading through Robinhood, they don't need to delay because there's kind of like inherently or recreational users that way. But I mean, there are a few ways to kind of, make it not too obstructive for the recreational users. But yeah, but right now, definitely, I don't think this is. But interesting though, because like, I mean, I'm sure are you on the Kalshi like fee rebate program thing you have?
I can't necessarily, I don't think you're supposed to, they sent me some documents and there's an NDA involved. So I just, I guess plead the fifth. I can't say on that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just, the fact that the requirement to get refunded is dependent on your in-game liquidity. That's like an interesting workaround they made. I kind of, makes it a little cheaper on them, but yeah, I definitely don't want to get you in trouble with that. So all good.
No, I mean, like, I think what you said about Robinhood is a really important point. And, I think culture has to make decisions, obviously, with Robinhood in mind. And I think, it's going to be interesting because then does every courtsider just load up their Robinhood account and go to the game or not? Like, but is there any latency disadvantage on Robinhood? I actually don't know, but I think the Robinhood aspect for Kalshi specifically, like I think this applies to Novig and I'm sure Novig and Profit, since they're coming from more of like a sports background, and I know Novig is on the call, have it. I see David from Sport Trade on call. I think they have like a live auction. I'd love to hear his opinion on this, but yeah, I think the how is like really tough because then you have people who are complaining about it and they don't necessarily want any bad press, but I do think what you're saying, like it doesn't feel sustainable. Like all of the sports betting platforms that are technically like their own in-house market maker, it's never been sustainable. It feels like eventually it will have a delay, but I do feel like what CSP said is spot on about like them being worried about Robinhood and having to, figure out a solution that will work with Robinhood.
Now, I was talking to Flup earlier today, and I asked them about for the taker, for the recreational person, what form is currently the best way to bet? Is it an exchange? Is it Robinhood, I guess, mentioned, or is it FanDuel and DraftKings? What do you think?
For the taker, it's not Robinhood, right? Because that would be worse than just taking on call sheet. So it couldn't be Robinhood. I think for the taker, Polymarket's going to be with those taker fees. Polymarket will be quite a good spot to take. I'm interested how that is going to evolve because, I'm curious how much liquidity is going to be shown on Polymarket when they come to the US with the low taker fees in sports, because there's going to be a lot of like basically groups betting on there. So could get like a pretty tough, but there'll be rec liquidity too. I'd say like, yeah, if you're a taker, I mean, the thing for a taker is you want as many platforms as possible, right? Because you're just getting you want some synthetic price, some synthetic hold, as Ed Miller and David Dow would say, like as low as possible. So you just want the more platforms you have, the tighter the market, like your synthetic market is on each bet. Like if you have one book, your price is just going to be that book. So if you have two books, yeah, you might have one side, you might have minus 105 on one side and minus 105 on the other instead of -105, -115. And then you add in a third book and it's -105 plus 100, So being a taker, you want as many outs as possible.
Now, that was one conversation I had in an interview last month, that there was this woman saying how she only has BetMGM and she's a VIP and they comp her hotels and casino visits and all of this in Vegas. And I had to tell her, hey, I'm actually limited to 40 cents on DraftKings. And she didn't believe me. So I could tell she's obviously not the sharpest bettor. But what I asked them was, how many books do you have? Like, from a prediction market standpoint and in the space, I have all the 5-6 books that I have access to. But does the recreational bettor also download every app to try to find the better price, or are they that price insensitive that they just pick one, they pick FanDuel or DraftKings and run with that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. They're probably, I think a rec is more likely to be one book. So if you like control the question for like the fact that a rec will likely pick one book, then it would probably be a prediction market that would be better, just because you would have multiple market makers competing, which is always going to be, there's just more incentive to offer a better price. So yeah, if you control for the fact that if you're like, assume recs are only going to pick one book, you would probably have it a prediction market where multiple people are able to post liquidity.
But ignoring Polymarket, the Kalshi fees on the website themselves, they are still very high for sports, right? I think a 50-50 line moves you to -110 or -111. Is that right? So by extension, I'm thinking, hey, the Kalshi price with fees as a taker is not actually better than a sports book. And at least the sports book offers you some hotels when you're down. It gives you a VIP host that gives you a $50 bonus bet. That adds some value to your experience, where Kalshi is just, please redeposit.
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, I assume they're going to lower their fees when Polymarket launches, but I guess I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you think about fees, like shout out to Novig here. They have crazy low spreads on sports. It's sports only, but I guess if you pull up the odds screen, you're gonna see Novig sometimes as best price on both sides, which is, as far as like price shopping, you have a much tighter. Well, you have a lot lower juice on Novig than you would on Kalshi with the current fees. You're right. Like if you were to even have a Kalshi market that crosses and it's like 50-50, like adds up to 100, it's still going to be probably a higher fee than Novig. Like how you want to measure it with liquidity is up for debate, I guess. I know like Novig Twitter account had battled with the Bet105 account for a little bit, and like that was
because they had $100,
right? But like they still have decent liquidity, especially on NFL. So like how you measure it, like volume weighted, is like I guess to each person, they're going to measure it slightly differently. But yeah, with the fees, it's going to be hard to be tighter than Novig or Kalshi, because they could have literally a market that completely cross like 50-50, 100-100, but with the fees, it'll still probably be more juice than Novig.
That's interesting. Now back to the court siding problem. Well, is it a problem? I don't know yet. But over the past 4 years, fast clicking has always existed on Polymarket, right? And I'm now talking about fast clicking in general. Do you think that court siding sports is worse, or is it the same as fast clicking news events? Like for all the other 4,000 markets on the site.
Yeah, I had this conversation with Flop. And I think that there's nothing you can do about news. Like if you were a sports book, you'd be like, well, I don't really, if this person only clicks in news, I don't really want them around, or I'm going to lower my liquidity during like when, for example, like however many hours before NBA tip when like lineups are going to be announced and whatnot. Like you'd lower your liquidity there. Um, the thing about news is like it doesn't, it like happens like once per market. Court siding and like in play, it's like news comes out like every 5 seconds. So it becomes, I think, like much more the ratio of like toxic to non-toxic flow is just so much higher when we're talking about court siding than to reacting to news. So like, while if you're a sports book, there's the fills probably they're not much different. Like you probably think about the fill of a court sider or the fill of like a news person the exact same way. But like from an ecosystem standpoint, because the court siding is just like happening so much more frequently, like there's so much more opportunity, it does become like worse for the ecosystem than somebody, I guess you would say, like fast clicking or just like betting news before the market makers have it.
Yeah. And I didn't think of the ratio, but my next question was going to be about, hey, are the sports market makers making enough money to cover the fact that they're getting court-sided so much? Because the Robinhood flow is so square that on the spread, you make more than the money you lose by providing that liquidity.
And yeah, like I track some data for this. It depends on the sport, but like they're not really making
Oh yeah, you did have a tweet about data.
not that much live.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like this market maker in play. This is not talking about at breaks or whatnot. Like just speaking for myself, is measuring my fills against like 60-second VWAP. It's basically just trying to like pin it to a price, the average price, weighted to volume over the next 60 seconds with a 5-second break. So it's basically what I'm trying to measure is like how hard am I getting fucked courtside, courtsiding, because like within 60 seconds, if the price changes, like against that view up, even like taking into account some countermeasures, I'm still like slightly minus EV. Like I'm slightly like my EV is slightly negative. There's other benefits to keeping a live model up, like it allows you, if you're smart with it, to like get into a position. So like if you have a lean, like you can cheaply get into a position by making with like a good market making model. You could take more size pre-event, knowing that you can kind of like pretty cheaply get out of it. Like we're losing EV, but not that much. So it's like, okay, well, you're paying a tiny bit, but you're able to take way more pre at a price you like that could be worth it. So like not everything's a pure EV calculation. There are other reasons to run the live. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly not making me any money on its own.
And well, that's obvious. What is the end game then if Kalshi doesn't add a live delay? I guess court siding gets bigger and becomes even more unprofitable, and then everything crashes. Is that the argument that you made on Twitter?
Well, but I could just say one thing, like, a regular sports book, like DraftKings or FanDuel, like, if they affect a trade isn't fair, they can just cancel it, pause it, ban your account, limit you. Like Kalshi had that outage a few weeks ago. I remember like Golden Pads, you sent them on Twitter about how like, oh, it's okay, they're going to roll back the trades. But on prediction markets, apparently the thing, like it's a huge deal if you have to roll back thousands of trades, and it's just they probably don't even have the tools for it. There at some point you just have to accept that the tools they use for a sports book don't work in this space. So if they don't add, live trading delays, they're gonna have to get creative on subsidies or something else. But this is my thoughts on what they would do. But definitely you can't treat these like sports books because they're different in a lot of very significant ways than and just a lot of things that can go wrong from market making on these. You treat them like a sport book.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like you can't post like you would post on a sports book for exactly what CSP is saying, because the sports book controls their ecosystem. They have a delay on, and you don't get one. So even like the odds you see live on a sports book, if you go and bet them and a team scores a goal and 3 seconds later, like you won't actually get that bet, whereas you will on on the PMs. And that's why like it's such a like frankly it's a good idea. It's like smart to courts. I'm not no shame. Like it's a profitable strategy for shares. I know obviously people are doing it, making money. And it's like
did tweet that it was stealing. You did say it was like stealing a TV.
no, that's that
Or was it a
that
flash?
was like a throwback to if you know Ant, he was on my podcast and he had a comment about this is going to get really like into a sort of multiple reference thing, but it was about like Tom. If you listen to the Risk Room with Thomas Stevens, he was like, "Well, I don't know if I would have like I liked his style specifically. It's like if you're going and like taking advantage of glitches in SGPs, it's the same thing as like going into a Walmart and the TV is $5, and instead of like saying like, "Hey, I think this is mispriced," you just pay $5 and walk out. So I was kind of needling him a little bit there. That was
I understand.
yeah, a very long, boring chain of references into that comment.
Well, and the point you made is the point that I struggle to try to argue against, that if they don't add a delay, this just keeps getting bigger, and then market makers become unprofitable. It doesn't matter how many subsidies you give, the problem will just keep growing. I did bring Kobe on, the biggest sports trader, we'll call him, in the game, if he wants to come and join. There, he's a speaker. You can, Kobe, there.
Yeah, I'm here.
So what do you think?
I don't know. Good stuff. I like the you guys do the hot dog cart reference on your podcast, right? I like that one. That's a good inside joke.
That's SP's. Yeah, his hot dog cart is always in trouble for some reason or another. He's always trying to hedge out of his hot dog cart exposure. That's a great deep cut. Yeah, I appreciate the people who bring up the hot dog cart specifically.
Golden, did you got Kobe now? Is there any mean words you want to tell him, or
Is
respect, or what?
Kobe like the top live signals guy out there?
He's number one on the leaderboard. I don't
No,
know
so
what he
someone
does,
else
but
joined. I'm number 2 now for the month on
okay.
sports.
Oh, how brutal.
I mean, I'm actually like probably number 20, and all the top 19 are hidden.
You thought you're number one on this call. What are you talking about, Phantom? I'm here. You forget I'm here?
Yeah, I'm like number.
Well, you're like the market maker in
Three.
ESG. You're nobody,
So,
bro.
are you Kobe? Are you running like just a sick court-setting op right now? No, like that, mad respect. It's a hard game to do profitably.
I wouldn't say that. I would say, think the traditional terms are people fall into like top-down bettors or bottom-up bettors. I've like got it into this stuff pretty recently, so I'm trying to listen to all the podcasts and everything and figure it out. But I think my strategy is overall just top-down betting. That's what I would identify myself as.
Nerd. I'm sorry. Oh.
There's no. I love a good top-down, a scale top-down better. You're like Spanky for prediction market space. But it's funny that you just got into sports betting and you're. Yeah, I didn't check recently. I know you're above me on the board though, so I guess It's gone pretty well so far.
Yeah, it's been good fun.
What were you doing before? I'm
Well,
curious. Like, were you a financial trader?
No, I mean, I am in college now on the side. And by on the side, I'm like a full-time student, but I don't spend that much time on that stuff. And it's like I'm recently getting into it because I wasn't old enough to use the regular sports books before, so I've never really looked into that stuff that much. But no, I've always been interested in financial markets, including stocks and crypto and prediction markets, if you want to include that in that category.
The prompt.
Does it bother you that it's like part-time college students like doing a better job than you are? You've got that financial background. I'm just curious.
No, I there's always gonna be the Tom Dwan that this is I don't know if anyone even on this call is old enough for this poker reference, but who's gonna come up and crush you, and you gotta adapt or die, man. Kobe's coming, and you can't be an old fart. These kids, I mean, Phantom, I saw your clip on the stream, but you can't be too much older than Kobe either. There's these young guys he's blasting. This is the online poker boom all over again.
Yeah, I'm not in the golf markets yet, so I hear you're a big golf guy, so you still have the golf markets to yourself.
It's really hard to top down golf, either if you're ripping the old that one percent, the live signals, which I've kind of started calling them, courtsiding or not. Like, it's really hard to courtside golf. The court's so fucking big, and like any one shot doesn't really change much until you get Sunday. So that one's fine. But I'll say, like, NHL, you're probably picking my pocket, Kobe.
Hockey's a weird sport. I'm not a big hockey guy.
Okay.
Unless sometimes it gets a little wacky, but I can't get into that too much.
Okay, fair enough.
And Golden, what sports have you noticed have been the worst for you as a market maker in terms of like getting clicked? Or is that something I can ask?
Yeah, you can ask. Well, I think those are two good examples. I'd probably use both of them as examples of when you're never getting clicked. Like golf. Sure, there's been times like there's been a couple of times when I was like, oh, that was definitely like someone made a birdie, and I don't know why we were slow, or maybe they were literally at the course, and I don't. But it's so rare. Like hockey is one where basically the court-siding strategy for hockey is any power play, any goal, you get to make money. And then if it's a lot of goals and a lot of power plays, lose money. Well, I guess actually the power play needs to lead to goals. So goals are really bad in hockey because the win probability swings so much per goal and even per power play that, like, you're talking about the taker fees on Kalshi with how big the win probability swings are. They don't matter, it's like it's irrelevant. Like you're gonna lose, like, because the edge is so big if you're court-siding. So hockey is like relative to score, could be good, could be bad. Like a really high scoring game, you're just not gonna make money. That's just how it is. Low scoring game, like, yeah, you could conceivably be plus EV in a low scoring game. I would say.
And these data feeds that the market makers have, are they I guess they're the same as the sports books have. So if sports books didn't have a delay, or it was like half a second, 1 second, people would be able to click them as well? Or are people already able to click sports books?
No, you're exactly right. That's a big difference. It's the same data, and without a delay, it would be the exact same thing on the sportsbook, which is like why the sportsbook all have to list. Because you're never going to be faster than a really good courtsider.
No, eh? And yeah, that makes sense actually. it's difficult. And I think the best part about sports books is they can just reverse the trade and ban you. So that's why for the recreational bettor, other than the fact that you get the free hotel rooms at BetMGM, you also are safe. You have high limits because if they know you're a recreational trader, they have no problem taking your action. Whereas with prediction markets, you don't know who's on the other side. You can't distinguish who's a sharp, who's a square, and you just have to take it all in the butt.
Well said.
It's difficult. But then if nothing changes, then you leave, right? You said you already left live trading.
Who, me?
You said you already like reduced your live in-game market making, right?
Oh no, I still choose to lose money, but just like less.
Oh,
Just less. No, what I'm saying is, CSP love to hear his take on this, but basically, like, how much you get court-sided affects like how much, like, if you think about it, like, you could let's say you want to like iceberg an order, which is like show a little bit and then refresh. You still have to like show some amount, and that amount that you show has to go down when court-siding goes up, because every time you get your max fill, like, it's between like bad and like terrible. And then every time you don't get your max fill, it's usually like pretty good. So if your max fill gets so out of whack, like the ratio between your max fill to your average fill, you're going to start to lose way quicker from court-siding. So it's like keeping that ratio tighter, at least I've found, is the best way to not get killed. I'm curious to hear like what CSP has to say, but that's like, to me, the one lever I feel like I can turn to like break even. I'm not talking even about making money. Like I said, there's other reasons to run a live, to have like a live market make, besides making money solely on the fills. But yeah, that's like kind of one lever.
Well, there's certain sports like hockey. I used to, Polymarket used to not have much competition, so I was kind of market making on their order books years and years ago. And yeah, there's just certain sports are just still hard. Like I didn't like hockey because understanding the power plays. Like basketball and football, like usually the drives are longer and slower. Like I try and just stick to the sports that I know I'm gonna have an edge on. And I gave up hockey years ago. I can imagine still trying to. I mean, I'm sure you got it figured out, but those are rough numbers. But yeah, definitely just a sport like that where it's like a single event that happens quite a bit, move the odds so significantly. Like basketball, if you have three, that might move it a little bit, but unknown amounts. But yeah, it's just definitely some sports are much harder than others in ways that a recreation trader might not think about, but for market making purposes, make it very challenging. But yeah, I try to do very little in game, as little as possible, because I don't have a good system for battling the court-siders. And I mean, if they added it, I mean, that might increase liquidity. Like people like me might come back and do more. So there's definitely pros and cons either way.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, that's one where I think it's kind of obvious that a delay would increase liquidity a lot. So,
and why do you think they're not doing it?
sorry, why?
Why do you think Kalshi hasn't added one?
I think a lot of it has to do with, I think honestly, like Robinhood, they have other stakeholders. So I think they personally, like, I imagine they would like to, but they don't know how to do it in a really non-annoying way that keeps the core experience the same.
Well, I mean, look at the numbers. Like they're always bragging about their volume numbers, and you add in-game delay and stop market makers getting picked off, you're going to do a lot less volume. I don't think it's my priority right now. I think they're totally fine with their market makers getting scalped every now and then.
You think?
I mean,
those-
I think
the numbers.
I think for my, I'm gonna hop off after this. By the way, got some homework to do. Um, yeah, no, but I think from my perspective, it's pretty obvious. I think that there is pretty much sufficient live liquidity in most sports. I guess. I mean, like hockey is not that much, but probably the median order size is like $20. Probably the average is a lot higher because of outliers. But I think in a lot of the major sports, there's like 10,000 shares within a couple cent spread usually. And there's really few people who would want to buy more than that. And then, like, I think that increasing liquidity would not really increase the volume very much at this point.
Yeah, I think that's
Good point.
fair. I do. Yeah, I mean, if the max click is, if most people's like max click is already on the order book, it wouldn't necessarily increase volume too much. And something like NFL, it does seem like there's a decent amount on the order book. I think across all sports, it would definitely, like, if you think about Kalshi, they keep like everything up live. Not every sports book does that. Like they'll have games, that they offer pregame that they won't keep up live, but Kalshi like has to keep everything up live. So the second order effect is if they want to offer anything like player props and they want to do it in a way that would have any live liquidity, it has to be on the delay. Like talk about like the absolute most tragic adverse selection market for courtsiding, it's player props. Like think about like offering player goals in hockey, right? You're done. You're cooked. No one will make that live. Absolutely nobody without delay. Like no matter how much in rebates or anything you get back. So like on the main sport money lines, like I agree that in a lot of the big spots, there's probably enough liquidity. But like right when you want to do anything else, like you can't do it without a delay. So I think like if they do want to offer props or offer alts or offer all this other stuff, that the volume just, it'll be impossible to have any volume without a delay.
One thing I wanted to ask about is the fact that there's often times where on the order book you'll see the wrong winner be bonded to 99, or the Penguins score a goal in OT, goes to 99 because they won the game, then the goal gets reversed. How much of your losses to quote unquote courtsiding is actually just because you're bad at the game or your data feed is incorrect versus actually getting courtsided by someone at the game or who has a really fast feed?
Yeah, we've never been in a spot where that has hurt us in hockey. Like that, I can't really remember. If anything, we're in good shape not happening. Because someone will try and pick us off or courtside us, right? And then the goal gets called off. So we're like, great, that's tremendous. Like that feels better for us. So those are the situations more where courtsiders will get hurt and are actually good for us.
So you think the person who has an order at 99 might not be the market maker, but it's actually a person?
Yeah, because
a courtsider?
Yeah, like in that situation, like we're grayed out. Like we are not offering that. CSP can back me up here. Like that's not the appetite there is, the risk is not even close, in my opinion, to being worth it. And yeah, I think there's a whole different set of people who are doing that. But yeah, we're not doing that.
There's other examples, not just bonding to 99, but say a fumble happens in the football game and the initial call gets reversed. The market maker might move the odds to 60 when really it should have got from 50 to 60 instead of going down to 40, if the call gets reversed or if the call is ambiguous. Is that a case where the market maker could be screwing up and it doesn't have to be a courtsider?
Well, if you're good at understand, like that's one where you may be able to watch the game and understand something. I think like anytime something's under review, we're pulled, right? Like I don't want to take anything when game's under review or calls under review. Um,
Mhm.
and that's one situation though where that's like the classic Ed Miller like 101 live betting spot that you can do watching the game is you see a penalty in football or fumble and okay, that will be overturned. That's that is a good spot that like live market makers just like are realistically going to be unable to account for, and you'll lose there sometimes for sure. Like that's a good angle. I think it's probably best.
And that's
in football.
and that's okay. And that's okay for courtsiders to be doing that.
What? It's all okay.
Is it as toxic as courtsiding? I guess not, right?
No, no.
Because I was thinking that maybe a lot of these things that we're labeling as courtsiding might just be bad prices because of events in the game. Like
I
just
can,
someone knows ball better.
yeah,
You think
like
that? You know?
no. Yeah, like I can tell you when someone scored a goal. I'll promise that. I can, I can see the future on goals because of kills. So no,
And
most
what is
oh, go ahead.
no? Yeah, you can continue.
No, I was gonna say like the toxic films most yeah, like that's a totally fair situation. Like I wouldn't label like if for some reason like we were still up, by up I mean just quoting during a review of a goal and that goal got called back and someone bet us during the review, like I wouldn't consider that courtsiding. And I would also consider that like something we could do something about, which is like post don't be up during review. So like I think those are two separate things.
Mhm. I did forget what I was going to ask, but I think you are right that it's not as bad. But I was thinking that it was mostly, well, not mostly, but I thought a good portion of it was just bad pricing. But I guess if you know that it's court siding, then you know because you're the guy with the data. Actually, I do remember. What is the ideal live delay? Like, how quickly do you see the goal in your order fills and then the actual goal happens?
Like happens on TV or happens on
Happens on a sports book, I guess.
yeah, that's a good yeah, it's probably like I'd say like 5 seconds. I do think it like kind of depends, but I actually wanted, if anyone on this call wants to go to a hockey game, I actually want to know like the actual delay, as in like someone tell me when it happens live and then I see it. I think that would be the most interesting, because there's obviously a certain amount of time it takes for like the person who's court setting to put it in, and I think like also the optimal delay from a Kalshi standpoint might not be like a delay that stops every like the absolute top elite courtsider, like because that might just be too long of a delay. But if it like removes most of it, that's probably okay. But at the same time, who knows how much of that volume is all of that one person, two people. But yeah, I don't know the answers. Like I don't know, and I actually want to put somebody at a couple games, a couple different sports, and like see what the actual delays are. But that's an important question, obviously, when they're designing a policy, or if they were to want to design a policy around, putting some kind of delay.
Yeah, I don't think it's 5 seconds. I mean, based on my one time going as a game 7 of the World Series, it was like I barely had a second to judge the home run to see if it was going to be out of the park or not. And I'd have to place the bid. And I did make quite a bit over the course of those 9 innings trying to courtside. and then I lost it all in the bottom of the ninth and more. But I think it would be less than 5 seconds, especially 5 seconds is too long for something like Robinhood to wait, make their customers wait for when a lot of the volume is rec. But I think you're right that it's good to maybe go to, I can't believe you've never been to a game to test it out. You should be going to some game and figuring it out.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a sports desert, South Carolina, but I'm maybe I'll go watch the Carolina Hurricanes. They're quite good, or the Panthers. I don't know if I want to subject myself to a Panthers game, but might have to.
They have a couple wins lately. CSP, did you have anything else? Did anyone else want to join and ask a question while we got Golden Pants on? Or else I think I'm pretty good here.
Yeah, I think we're done with the fun parts. Let's move on to the trash talking. So, who do you hate the most on Kalshi? Like, who's your guy on the leaderboard you don't like? You have anyone in mind?
That I don't like. Well, I have to. I kind of have to bookmark myself a little bit off Rufus, who's Dog Man on Kalshi. He is
Peanut butter?
no peanut butter.
Oh.
I love peanut butter. Another person I always look at, but like Rufus is a fellow golf bettor, but he also does a lot of other stuff that he's quite good at. So he crushes, and anytime I can even get in the vicinity of Rufus, I'm happy.
Yeah, I hated Logan Lodge. You ever see that guy on Twitter?
Yeah, like, does he win? I don't know.
That's a fucking LARPer. He's like acting like he's some sharp. He started posting his wins after they happened. And you don't see him on the leaderboard anymore. But I mean, he went on a hot streak there for a while. Like I a few of his trades were against me. I saw him doing pretty well. But I just, he was acting like he's so smart. Like, I'm finance. I'm a super smart trader. And he just was going on a hot streak. And now he posts his wins after the fact. So you can't call him out when he loses. But these guys on these.
He had the
good.
Ferrari. Like, that's the classic sports betting, right? It's like they have the Ferrari profile pick. It's like usually that's how.
I was waiting for him to like, here's buy my picks. So that was like,
oh,
sure, that was going to happen soon. But
it's coming.
It's not a leaderboard anymore. Maybe gave up on that.
CSP or Golden. I don't know if you trade on Polymarket Golden, but CSP, are you going to join the Hive trading tournament?
Well, the guy who's running it actually kind of robbed me recently, so I'm not super excited about that, but I'll think about it. Right? We'll see how it goes.
Well, 10K prize, so I don't know what 10K means.
That's nothing to
you
CSP,
guys,
man.
big dog.
CSP.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I would register for sure if you plan on having a little bit of fun trading Polymarket. I think registrations close on Friday. I think that's what it is. Or trading starts on Friday. So follow Hive if you can, guys, and join the tournament. It's going to be fun. We're going to make a lot of good content out of it. And maybe Golden Pants, you might be the winner. Take home the prize.
You're from Canada?
I'm from Canada, yeah.
Okay, I'm in the U.S., so we're not on Poly yet, but I will hopefully be on soon. And sounds like the plan. I also want to shout
they are
out
going to launch soon.
Bunchy Bets. You guys don't know Bunchy? That's my guy, long time internet friend who was just on Chris's or Fluff podcast. I see him in the chat, so I wanted to shout him out.
Yeah, I did see him. If you wanted to join, you can come say hi, but I think we're good. Yeah.
VPN. I'll say. You can get on Poly. You can get Poly today. You don't have to wait.
There's no fees,
Why
not?
That's true. And I did have this on the pod with Rufus where he said he was betting on Polymarket and then said he was actually sending bets to a friend. So I don't know. There are ways. There's always ways.
He's just added 2 new people. DJ, anything you want to say? Is DJ on here? Oh, connecting. But yeah, I do want to plug my tournament because it is going to be a lot of fun. Again, 10K prize pool. I think the link's in the Hive bio. Follow Hive, join the tournament, register, and make some money. I think we're good here. Thank you so much, Golden. Thank you, CSP, Kobe, everyone who talked. And yeah, have a good rest of your night, guys.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun. And CSP, it was good to meet you.
Yeah. Fun to talk to them on Twitter and then talk to the invoice. So always fun to do that. Cheers.
Have a good night.